back to the India Mushroom Summit 2023 as we resume our afternoon session.
For our last session for the day, the agenda is Opportunities and Challenges of the Industry, Part 2. The session will be chaired by Mr. Vijay. He's an ex-Mushroom Development Officer, Agriculture Production Department, Jammu and Kashmir. Presently, he is working as mushroom consultant and advisor since 2017. He has 30 plus years of experience in mushroom cultivation at various levels. He has worked on different projects both in India and abroad. Please welcome him.
Moving on, our first speaker for the session is Mr. Manmohan Malik, the founder, chairman, and CEO of Himalaya Food Internationals Limited. Mr. Malik embarked on a remarkable journey in 1979, having nothing but a single penny in his pocket. With unwavering determination, he laid the foundation of Himalaya Food International with a small greenfield project in a developing region of India. What makes his story even more extraordinary is that his educational background was rooted in physics and law. However, through sheer grit, he evolved into self-taught business leader of exceptional reputation. We are certain that his insights and experience will inspire us all. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Manmohan Malik, a true exemplar of determination, resilience, and entrepreneurial spirit. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, dear. I would just say that I was thrust into business. I became an entrepreneur by chance of destiny, though I wanted to be an astronomer when I was studying physics at Delhi University. However, the journey has been very good. I would like to share my experiences. I'm not going to present you with anything, how to make money specifically from mushrooms, but I'm open for all the questions that you may have that might relate to my entrepreneurial journey, which you will most of the youngsters sitting over here, they would embark upon it in their career. To give you a bit of mushrooms, it's an exciting journey. Mushrooms themselves are very exciting. As they say, that they grow like mushrooms. If you could put some slow speed camera and put in the room, and you can see how beautifully it emerges in 24 hours, the size doubles or whatever. People believe that it's very easy. It is easy, but the focus is required. And I would say that I have been more of a grower, less of a grower than an entrepreneur. Though I chipped in my knowledge of physics and whatever I learned in my college to do more and better things and think better, like I suggested, that culinary mushrooms is one part where India has yet to make its mark. We are quite low, as someone earlier speaker pointed out, that China has 50% of the world's production, while we have larger population than China right now, but we are nowhere in the world map of mushrooms. With so much agro waste all around us in India, especially you can see these winter months, as we all know that what has happened to Delhi with AIQ going as high as 700 to 900. So, but something has to be drastically changed in the mindset of this country to propagate such industry as mushrooms, which can be boon for our environment. We can use mycelium and mushroom in various ways where we can reduce the pollution, especially talking about the paddy growing states surrounding Delhi, like Punjab, has emerged as one of the largest paddy growers in this North India, and generates around 17 to 18 million tons of paddy straw every year. And that is burnt indiscriminately, and that's how the whole region is suffering. But at the same time, saying that we can use this paddy straw into mushrooms will not solve the environmental problem because it's too small. Like 3 kgs of straw will give you 1 kg of mushroom. So 17 million tons of straw would mean 5 million tons of mushrooms, which would be mind-boggling. But at the same time, some part of it definitely can be consumed in the mushroom industry. Rather, I would say that the farmers themselves, whose crops come somewhere in October, September, October, they have 3-4 months of good weather with lower temperatures, without much investment on air conditioning. They should adopt the ways the Sonipat growers do, and each farmer can become, in his own right, a paddy plus mushroom grower, at least for the 4-5 months till March. So that can mitigate. But besides that, we have always remained focused on mushroom all around the world, but there has to be a different field connected to mushroom. As Dr. Rekha pointed out, that mycelium and mushrooms are as old as the planet is. Our forests are all, underneath the soil, it's all web of communication between all the plantations. So that's where we need to learn some lessons from nature. And say, for example, I mentioned about mushroom fabric. You may call it mushroom leather. In traditional terms, leather is from animal. But mushroom fabric, which is as sturdy, more beautiful, more colorful, it can be naturally colorful, as good as the best of the leathers in the world. Similarly, packaging industry, there's so much of waste world around in everything packaging. For example, we all are used to taking some stuff from Amazon. How much packaging is there? Inside, outside, 3rd layer, 4th layer. So much, again, it's a load on the planet. If we could use the mycelium along with paddy straw and convert that into different kinds of packaging, that can eliminate the problem, at least for the north part of India. I'm trying to integrate what should be happening in the world, but specifically to India, like North India, we are definitely besieged with this problem of smog every year, year over year, and it's increasing. So there are so many various things that can be done in this field. I would say that government, the normal entrepreneurs can just take small initiatives, but government should come forward. The government of India, as a project that we want to be leaders in almost everything, apart, not just in population growth, but we have to be leaders. We have so many young people over here who are studying in colleges, who can become entrepreneurs themselves. Besides, so many research scholars can be built here who can lead the world in new ways. Not only just button mushroom. Button mushroom is all over the world. Let's not just focus on button mushroom. There are other mushrooms too, but the market is slow. But apart from that, focus on mycelium also as the same family. Mushroom is what is, base is mycelium. If we can focus at the research level more towards mycelium, like myceliated grains. This is one area where, like some of you might have read the books like Grain Drain, or there was another book on which gluten has become the major culprit for the inflammations within the body. So suppose if we can develop a particular mycelium that if wheat grain is myceliated and it eliminates the gluten out of that wheat, the same wheat becomes much more healthier. Of course, the mushroom benefits are there, mycelium benefits are there, but gluten is eliminated. So similarly, these are the fields where we need to start thinking at certain level in India. Besides, smaller, younger entrepreneurs should crop up with the objective to cater to a local market of say 5-kilometer radius. Like you can deliver home to home, you can create your own job, you can make your own money. So there are a lot of avenues for India. India is red hot place for development of entrepreneurship, and we have a lot of people here. I would also say our partners from mushroom industry, from overseas, like Stuart and Bart, like they can think of making their knowledge base over here, employ some of the youngsters studying in our colleges, and make it local. You have your money from your domain knowledge, but you will have much cheaper resources, scientific resources, as well as a much bigger market. Like India's middle class is more than the entire population of US and Europe. So this is the place, if we really see, if we go by price power parity, this already is the biggest market. If we talk in terms, multiply the same thing in terms of PPP, our economy is as big as America today, though we don't realize ourselves. My barber at home takes 500 rupees. If I go to his shop, he takes 50 rupees in my place, where my farm is there. While the same barber, if you go over there, it is maybe 5 pounds, 10 pounds. So here, same level is here in everything. So we have very potential educated resource here in our colleges, which can be gainfully employed at much cheaper the cost, and this country can become the powerhouse for the development of new technologies. Of course, everyone has that protection feeling that we protect. That patents and laws are very well applicable in India, but you can do a lot over here. I think I've said enough, and if you have any questions, any one of you, it shall be my pleasure.
Take care, please.
I hope you are not hurt. So any questions, please?
Any questions from the audience? Yes, please.
I hope I am able to audible.
Yeah, come here. The seats are here.
I think this place will be more comfortable.
Sir, एक मिनट. I would like to introduce Mr. Sir, मैं आपका नाम भूल गया. Arvind ji. This podium is being supplied by Arvind ji.
Oh, thank you.
He told me the first thing.
It's good one.
Thank you, Rajji, for acknowledging me. But my idea was this mushroom automation is one excited subject which I took up once I get associated with Rajji. I was not knowing that there is such potential about automation in mushroom. But when I got in touch with him, I found this is a really booming thing. And when I did 2 farms, which I did automation, I found there is a lot of knowledge which is imparted to real automation guys. We can form a model which will be more intelligent by itself. Like what kind of CO2 sensors you have to use, what kind of temperature variation you have to use. I mean to say, if suppose we have some standardization, then those standardizations can be converted into automation. And once it is converted into automation, then the production of mushroom will be of high quality and will be without any skilled labor. So you're going to be away from the skilled labor. Every time you have to train your person and then the person moves away and then you're back to your system. So my submission to all the people who have got associated here, if we form such a platform where such information can be get together, which will help automation companies to form a generic platform. Okay, if you do this, you are going to get this out. If you do this, you are going to get this out. I'm sure this will definitely go in a big way. So this is what is my submission, because I feel all of you who are into this who are into mushroom business, there are people who are with 20 years of experience, there are people who want to be into the business. So the people with 20 years of experience have a different experience, but the new generation, if they go by the technology, this will be very, very beneficial for the whole mushroom society. This is what is my submission. And in case any idea comes to you, I will come forward with whatever set of my knowledge, and I will be happy to come forward and do this kind of experimentation to all those scientists, researchers who have got any such idea where they are looking for such a system integration partner. Maybe I can be willing to come forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me say that here, this gentleman is sitting from automation, Fancom. So it's better that you try to collaborate with him if he is willing. Because developing everything on our own, why not start from what has already been developed? And fine-tune it to the Indian circumstances. One problem is there with the overseas helpers in the mushroom industry is they are attuned to the colder climates, mostly Europe and US. But here we have to develop the local resources based on our agroclimatic conditions, plus what resources are available here. Like we have paddy straw, which is a menace right now. We have mustard straw. We don't have hay grass, which has very high nitrogen. So we need to develop the things over here to our local circumstances. So that's a very good idea, and I think that's where the collaboration is required all over the world and not just specific to India or Europe or America.
One last line before I end up, and I know I'm disturbing the schedule. India is a growing economy. We are huge. The country from Kerala, from Tamil Nadu is huge. Everywhere there's a huge population. And that is what the time when foreign companies who are big in technology, if they collaborate with Indian partners, the size of the business which they expect to be in Europe or in Asia or US, India alone can contribute much bigger economy as compared to the rest of the nation.
They all know it.
So that is
You don't have to educate them on that. They know. What I stated is that our middle class is more than the whole population of America and Europe.
So we need to be very positive about this collaboration.
Definitely, both sides have to come forward in a mutually beneficial way.
And without any doubt, we can collaborate because the time is for collaboration only.
Absolutely. So it's adding up the knowledge, not discovering on our own. The law of gravity is already there. You don't have to go back and see the apple again. So same thing is there, what is already developed. We just can fine-tune it to our circumstances.
Just a small observation to what he has mentioned. I think we need to develop low-cost technology.
Absolutely.
That is very important from our country point of view.
Absolutely.
Whether when we talk of farmers or local growers, can they really afford automation of that level?
Absolutely.
So that is one aspect which should be looked at.
I totally agree with you, but low-cost development does not mean less profit. Mind it. You will have more volume, maybe 10 times more than what you are used to. Develop the technologies fine-tuned to India at lower cost, but your volumes will be much larger as India has yet to emerge in mushrooms. Taking the example of China, 50%. We are not even 2%. We are not even 1% of mushroom in the whole world. So the whole field is open.
So we need to balance the backward as well as
Absolutely. Totally. Any more questions?
Low cost is a welcome step in our own inherent conditions. But as far as I know that if you have to moderate your technologies and come up to the expected lines, both in respect of production and productivity, then we have to forego this concept of low-cost technologies. Because in the modern world, the technologies are to be paid for the prices which they have developed and all that. So we should not compromise. We should have this idea in mind that we have to be on the cost effectiveness of the mushroom growing for each and every aspect of the mushrooms. But we have to see that we cannot compromise on the quality and the production. That's how we can take it forward. Thank you very much, sir.
I agree with you, Dr. Kao, but I would say one thing, my personal life experience. I entered mushroom field way back in 1991, and I was talking to Dalsem at that time. I hope that still exists, Dalsem.
Yeah, they are no DMP.
Okay, so they offered a technology key turnkey project, giving you the whole machinery, was at that time around $8 to $10 million, and buying back the produce. That was one bad thing that happened to mushroom industry in India. They sold a lot of these technologies with buyback. They sold their machineries. They had certain rates for export of mushrooms, but mushroom market collapsed. They had already sold their machineries. They had made their money, but at that stage, they backed out from their buyback arrangements. So I would say, Dr. Kao, we have to be wise in India. We don't have to follow them blindly. We have to go with our circumstances. At that time, I was offered a telescopic compost loading line for $1 million, and that same job could be done by, say, 20 people. So at that time, the wages were 50 rupees. So you compute 20 into 50, and then $1 million byaj that time the interest rate was 20%. So we did not do it. A lot of people did it and they failed. So you have to fine tune depending on your economic conditions, depending on your employment condition. So India has a lot of manpower. We don't need entirely automation. We need to be selectively automated, not blindly. In Europe and America, in terms of dollars, wages may be around $15 an hour, around. Maybe Europe is more expensive. But here, your wages are hardly what? 60 rupees an hour, 8 hours, 500 rupees. So it is less than $1. So we have to see what we have to do. So it is totally depending on your choice, whether you want to go to totally sophisticated automation or you want to go for the partial automation.
Any more questions? Yes, please.
So my question is that, as we know, mushroom has so much potential, but the whole India, the common people, they don't know about it. And how can we spread the information? Like, how do we explain that mushroom actually holds so much so that we can increase the production of it?
That's a very good question, and that's the main thing. In India, we need to propagate what is good about mushroom. Not only good, how better tasting it is, or what are the benefits. So here is the role I am going to write to the government of India to make something like the mushroom board of India, like egg board of India, so that mushroom is propagated to every household, what it is, and then it should not be production-led demand, but demand-led production.
There should be like proper advertisement from all the college people, students, and everybody who is aware of the potential of mushroom. We all should do some advertisement for it. To awareness for mushrooms.
Absolutely. I think government has to chip in here. As a company, we did a lot around 20 years back. We spent $1 million at that time on radio and newspapers and all that. That was the era of newspapers. But but the government can do better than the private entrepreneurs. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manmohan Malik, for his elaborate talks on the mushrooms. His visionary things in the field of mushrooms is in the forefront of development in agriculture, especially in mushrooms. And he is very enthusiastic about the further increasing this byproducts of the mushroom by way of this scaling of different items from mushroom mycelium and all that. Thank you very much, sir. Our next speaker will be Mr. Stuart Whitehall. He is from United Kingdom, and as we know that the production and productivity has to be counter-effective, and there are ways and means to increase the production, and one of the ways and means is by supplementation. So Mr. Stuart Hall will talk about increasing your bottom line yields, quality and profit with supplementation. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, and esteemed guests. Thank you for inviting me to this international mushroom event, this first one in India. I'm very grateful to Anurag for all he's done for organising, and all the sponsors as well. I think you'll all agree that they've done an amazing job for this first international event. The subject today I'm going to talk about is supplementation and how it can be used to help to increase your yield, quality and profit. Where is the... Okay.
The pointer?
That's the pointer in case you need.
Okay, yeah, and that's the advance. Okay. So first of all, what is supplementation? Supplementation has been around for a long time. It started in the 1960s. It was started in the USA by a couple of researchers in Penn State University. It's basically the addition of nitrogen compounds after pasteurization. And more specifically, that nitrogen source is protein, what's called amino-based, as opposed to what you make with compost, which is ammonium-based nitrogen compounds. And one of the examples of this is soya meal, which is very commonly used throughout the world. Also, it is, although it's primarily used in phase 3 situations all over the world, it is also very effective in phase 2 as well, which is why I want to talk about it today. A very good example of a market which does use this is the USA. And they use it because they have low nitrogen composts and they gain significant benefits from this. So compost supplements, they're all based on feedstuffs as a base. And all these different feed stuffs, they all have different characteristics. They all have different protein levels. They all have different carbohydrate levels. Lipids, which are fats, cellulose and hemicellulose, as well as minerals. So what we're able to do is to actually blend these different ingredients together to get a combination of what we want, or more specifically, what the mushroom wants. There were many materials tested in the early days, and there were a lot of challenges, particularly with heating, because when we add these products to the compost, they generate heat, and also they can also encourage competitor molds, because as well as feeding the mycelium, which is a mold, it can also feed other molds as well. And of course the biggest challenges were when we add it at spawning time. So if compost, for example, is not very well made, has some issues, or some issues with pasteurization, it can be found that the supplement not only feeds the mushroom mycelium, but also the molds that are present because of non-uniform compost. The supplement needs to be mixed very evenly in the compost, and much better than, say, for example, spawn. Also, it's important to delay the release of the supplement food source so it comes in when your mushrooms are actually growing and they actually need that food source. And of course that is different between phase 3 and phase 2. So in your phase 2 situation, if we apply it at spawning, we need the effect to come in some 4 or 5 weeks later. So the source of these, we started to use animal feedstuffs. And some ideas were taken from animal production. This is back in the 60s and the 70s, because they were using protein compounds treated with formaldehyde. And this gave way to a solution for how to delay the release of the nutrition to the mushroom crop as well. Formaldehyde is quite a unique chemical, because when it reacts with protein, it creates like a skin or a surface on the outside of the protein particles. And this skin actually slows down the mycelium from getting into the supplement, hence the delay release mechanism. This skin also means competitor moles cannot access the supplement so easily and quickly, giving chance for the mycelium to outcompete it. Formaldehyde also has a localized hygiene effect as well, but that doesn't last very long. So how is supplement made? It's a pretty simple process. First of all, the feedstuffs which are chosen are ground or milled, whatever expression you want to use. And then we take those ground feedstuffs, we blend them together in a mixer, we add minerals, and then we add the preservative and the delay release. And there are a number of different alternatives here. Most people in the world are using formaldehyde for the delay release mechanism, and they'll use a couple of different rates. The higher the rate is, the longer the delay release is. Also, steam treatment can be used as well for creating this. And then we're a little bit more unique compared to the other companies. We use a natural process where we coat the particles with acid salts. Once the product's been had the preservative added to it, it's then bagged up. And typically it would look like this. It's usually packed in 25 kilo bags, usually 40 to 50 on a pallet. It can also be sold in big bags as well, but people find it's easier to handle smaller bags. So what's different about our products? I'll just briefly talk about this, say compared to the formaldehyde products. We've done a lot of research over the years, and there are some very important parts to making the supplement work more efficiently. One of the elements is to create a finer powder as you possibly can. It's a bit like the analogy with spawn, where you compare rye and millet. If you have more points of contact, then the mycelium will be able to attack it and be able to eat it quicker and be able to digest it quicker. We use a medium level of protein and we use a high level of fat. Fat's very important in supplementation because that's one of the factors that gives you heavy, dense mushrooms. So for us, that's a very important factor. Also, we use 100% plant-based, no chemicals and GM-free. And we use a blend of materials, as I showed earlier, to get the optimal nutritional balance for the mushroom. And then we have a unique acid coating for the mold protection and the delay release. How is it applied? Usually it's applied in two different ways. A supplement hopper over a belt, so similar to what you do when you're applying spawn. So you have a hopper and you just have a smaller dispenser at the bottom which releases the supplement more slowly than the spawn because it's a very fine material. The other way to do it, which is the picture on the left hand side, is a conveyor belt. So you have a conveyor belt which has got ridges on it and a hopper at the bottom. So that then basically allows a very uniform situation where the supplement then, when it drops onto the belt of the compost going past, is very, very uniform. Mixing is really the key. This is very, very important. Supplement does not work if it's not mixed properly. One of the two issues you get are heating, and the other is access to the supplements. So on the left-hand example, you can see, this thing's going to work here. So what I'm going to use, oops, this one here. So you can see here, the supplement particles are very evenly distributed. So the mycelium can work there. There's not going to be any overheating in any area there. This right-hand one is you've got too much supplement in these areas and not enough in these areas. So what happens is you get excess heating here, plus also there's too much food there for the mycelium to digest, so it doesn't digest it. In this area here, there's not enough food to digest. So this area here is just not effective at all. So you may get the same result as if you've not got supplement at all. So mixing is very, very important. And you've got to realise that there's only a very short period where the mycelium has access in the crop there to get that nutrition source. How much is applied? That depends on the stage of when you're using it. So if you're applying it in the phase 2 situation of spawning, we're typically putting in between 8 and 10 kilos per tonne. So depending on your fill rate, that's going to be something like 0.8 to 1 kilo per square metre. If you're applying it at casing, so in a phase 3 situation, we apply a much higher rate, typically between 10 and 15 kilos per tonne. How does the mycelium feed? Now this is also a very important thing for why the supplement is very, very important. So what I've done here, that's just an example of the tip of mycelium there, the root of the mycelium. What happens is the mycelium, the way it feeds is it releases enzymes at its tip. And those enzymes break down whatever's in that area. So it's compost or supplement or whatever. And then those broken down components get reabsorbed back into the mycelium. And as the mycelium fills up more and more and more, that is what's actually going up into the mushroom. And that's why your mushroom grows so quickly with such an intensity. So you can imagine, based on that, that if you have a good compost, you have stronger mycelium growth. If you have stronger mycelium growth, then you have better enzyme activity. If you have better enzyme activity, you have more breakdown and assimilation of nutrition that's in the compost or in the supplement that's in the compost, then getting brought up into the mycelium and into the growing mushroom. So compost must be stable. Supplement, so what supplement does is it makes a good compost better. For the previous slide, you could probably see there, if a compost is not ideal, and the mycelium is weak and the enzyme activity is weak, you're not necessarily going to get a better result. So supplement always makes a good compost better. Why? As I said, because the spore growth is stronger, so the mycelium is feeding, and it's much due to the enzyme activity in the mycelium roots and tips. What are the typical benefits of supplement? Typically, the yield increase can be 10% plus. The benefit to cost should typically be something in the region of 5 to 1 or better. You should see a quality improvement assuming good management. So for example, if you imagine that the supplement is going to produce some compost activity and some temperature, you need to have a good climate to be able to control that temperature. Also, higher temperature can drive the temperature or the speed at which the mushrooms are growing. So again, that can affect quality. So again, quality improvement depends on good management. So it all depends on the skill of the grower. Now, those points there are primarily about phase 3. But typically the benefits with phase 2 are about 50% of the above. So you should still expect to see significant yield increases, all conditions being right, of 5% plus. Things you've got to be aware of, which we've kind of talked a few things about. Poor mixing, as I explained before. If you get poor mixing, you can get overheating, or you could get little or no yield increase. Temperature spikes, so good cooling is needed. What happens in a phase 2 situation is that when the mycelium starts to consume that supplement and starts to utilize it, it creates heat. So usually 7 to 8 days after spawning in phase 2, you'll start to get a kick up in temperature. In a phase 3 situation, this happens within 1 or 2 days after casing. Now, in phase 2, of course, it's easier to control because in phase 2, your watering pattern is very different to phase 2, because in phase 3, you're actually watering through the casing into the compost, so you have a cooling effect. But in phase 2 situation, you're only watering the casing. Also, supplement is best in shelves and trays, where it can be mechanically mixed from, say, phase 2 or phase 3 tunnels. Mixing of supplement in bags and blocks is challenging to get a uniform application, particularly when you apply it into the bags or the blocks, and you then transport those bags and blocks over some distance, and that supplement can migrate within the blocks or bags. Extra yield means extra water and ventilation to maintain quality. Warmer temperatures may drive picking speed, and be aware of supplement particles sticking to or damaging spawn grains. Because the one thing you don't want to do is, for example, to mix the supplement with the spawn, because you'll damage the spawn, you'll slow down the growth, and you could encourage weed molds. Other suggestions: start at low rates and build up. Start cooling early and don't wait too long until it starts spiking. Higher spawning rates can help reduce weed molds. Yield from each flush should increase in proportion. So, in other words, you'll get a higher first flush than you normally get, a higher second flush than you normally get, and a higher third flush than you normally get. And this yield comes from more pinheads and more mushrooms, as well as heavier and denser mushrooms. You should store supplements in a dry place. Typical shelf life is 6 months. One of the things that may be worth considering, I don't know if it's something that's done over here, but we used to use in the UK, before we had phase 3 available, we had something called phase 2.5, where we took spawn run compost that we'd spawn run, we broke it up, and then we refilled that into shelves, and we added supplement at that point. So in other words, it was at casing stage. So the mycelium was fully grown, so it was safer. So it created some advantages over the disadvantage of phase 2 alone. But I don't know if that's suitable to India or not. It's just a suggestion. Supplement can also be used in a variety of different mushroom species. So, for example, oyster mushrooms, shiitake, all these different species. Supplements used in a slightly different way there. It tends to be added prior to pasteurization or sterilization. So in the substrate itself, it's much safer to put it in at that stage because the mycelium tends to be weaker in these other alternative species. Plus it gives a good opportunity to mix it in very uniformly. The future. We've done a lot of research and development in supplementation over many years. We did a lot of work with the original type of supplements, looking at all sorts of different materials to try to find variations which could produce more yield more quickly. We tried all sorts of combinations you would not believe. We probably tried hundreds of combinations with different compounds, different starch levels, different protein levels, and we tried everything to see if we could get higher results. And after all those results, we got some improvements, but they weren't as big as you thought they would be. And then that got us thinking, why is this happening? Because if you produce a supplement that was very, very easily available with, say, a very high carbohydrate content, in theory should be better than a high protein content and more available, it wasn't the case. So that put us onto the idea that maybe it's not just the nutrition of those components we put into the substrate, but it's more to do with the availability of them. So this is what put us onto the route of liquid supplementation. So we also have in our product range a range of liquid supplements. So this is a different approach. And we've done a lot of work over many years on this, and we've actually found that their most effective point is to apply them during the crop to top up what has already gone already. If you think about a typical first flush situation, you probably utilize 50% of the nutrition in the compost in a very short period of time. Then there is a recovery then to come back again very quickly. So if we can add nutrition at that point in time, we find it's very, very helpful. So we apply this directly onto the crop. We apply it after the first flush, typically from overhead or by drip irrigation within the casing. And we only use it at very low rates, typically between 60 and 120 mils per square metre. What are the advantages? We get an increase in yield, kilos per square metre. We can increase the quality of the mushrooms. That's the big thing. The mushrooms, which are usually going softer at the end of the flush, they stay harder to the end. So what that means is the mushrooms keep their weight, they don't lose weight. We also, because the quality is better and the mushrooms are heavier, we have more dry matter in the mushrooms, so we get an increase in the shelf life. Also, interestingly, because of the components we use for preserving, the natural preservatives, we actually get a lot of people who tell us they get an increase in disease protection against casing molds. And the other advantage is there's little or no temperature activity. So for the Indian market, what I've seen in talking and advising growers here over the last couple of years is two main challenge areas. Lower yields from lower nitrogen composts, and also casing material that doesn't hold water very well, which means that you have to continuously water, which leads to deep pinning, often blotch and dirty mushrooms. So my opinions, these are only my opinions, some solutions for the yield side. Of course, the obvious one is always we're working to make compost more consistent all the time. The second thing is using supplements as an extra nitrogen source could boost production during cropping. And the consideration of working with fully small-run compost, either phase 2.5 or phase 3, particularly phase 3. Solutions for quality, maybe the adoption or alternatives to overhead irrigation. One of the ideas of this is drip irrigation. These are pipes which fit inside the casing. I'm going to show you a small video shortly after this slide. This is watering from, so it gives you the ability to water from underneath at all times because the pipes are inside the casing layer, which means you can continually water when mushrooms or pins are present. It means the casing never dries out. There's no blotch, less energy use because you're not having to dry the mushrooms after you've watered them, and it gives you the ability to add liquid supplement throughout. So you can see here the pipes in the casing sat on top of the compost there, and then the casing on top of that. That's a manual installation. The one below it is in an automated system with phase 3, where the pipes are put in automatically as you fill the rooms. I'd just like to show a quick video which just shows that irrigation system, because I think it could be interesting for this market, and then I'll take any questions after that. I'm going to put the volume down. If the volume
Thank you. If there are any questions, please.
Okay,
the video first.
So this is the automatic system. This is a phase 3 farm in Canada, and this is in real time. So it's the putting of the pipes in. It is actually a pretty quick process. And of course, in a phase 2 situation, these pipes could just be laid manually on the compost prior to the casing going on. Yes, those are not familiar with this. This is a typical phase 3 filling situation. So the compost and the casing is pulled into the beds at the same moment. This is a system of production that's used all over the world. I think it's about 2 minutes. Okay. It's just about 2 minutes. So these are the connections which go on. So once the piping's inside the compost and casing, then manifolds are put on the end, and the whole system is filled up with water. But they have special holes in which don't allow the water to come out. And the water only comes out when it gets to a certain pressure, and it just drips out. This is how the pipes are pulled out at the end of the operation. And these pipes are reused over and over again. This particular farm, they've actually been using the pipes now for almost 4 years. Yeah, that's okay, yeah. That's okay. Yeah. You can pause it. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, so any questions?
I would suggest that we will invite the next speaker and take all the questions at the end of the session because of the paucity of the time. So I would invite Mr. Anand Rawat, the man who doesn't need any introduction, who has revolutionized the mushroom technologies by way of introduction of very smart things in spawn production, as a CEO of the Milky Way Technologies, and as an architect of the present India Mushroom Summit 2023. Please join me in applauding Mr. Saxena.
सर मैं तब तक
Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. Recently I was in Dutch mushroom days. हम लोग सब जानते हैं कि डच फार्म्स में क्रॉप्स ज़्यादा आती हैं, हमारे यहाँ कम आती हैं. आप लोगों को पता है इसका कारण क्या है? Can anyone tell? किसी को नहीं पता? You want to know how you can increase your yields? कितने लोग जानना चाहते हैं? I will tell you. All the Dutch people do an exercise in their farms to increase the yield.
लेकिन आवाज आएगी.
You want to know that exercise? आप लोग जानना चाहते हो?
Say yes.
Please get up. All of you, please get up.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Now raise a hand. Other hand also.
One second का कौन सा?
Like this. And raise your.
Stretch.
नहीं ये तो 1 मिनट का है.
3 times.
लिरिक्स
Okay.
नहीं चाहिए छोड़.
So, if you do this, you will be active and you can work smartly to increase the yield.
रहने दो स्क्रीन ऐसी रहने दो.
Mantra of the day.
Now I am thankful to Mr. Daniel and Agro Projects
Pause करो.
for sponsoring the lunch we just had, and I know the lunch was very tasty and people have eaten a lot and they must be feeling little sleepy, so the exercise was for that. You should be able to hear me attentively. हाँ नहीं रहने देने वाले हो गए जाके सब. मुझे लग रहा था अगर लोग नहीं उठे तो आई विल प्ले द नेशनल एंथम, फिर तो उठना पड़ेगा. सो वी वर प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट. Usually in conferences, sir, the food is very heavy. So the sections after the food needs to be very high energy, so that it doesn't allow people to sleep. Correct?
एक सेकंड बस. थोड़ी सी.
हाँ? So कौन ये एक्सरसाइज करने वाला है in their mushroom farms? Arun sir, it is mandatory for all the workers. They must do it at least 5 times in a day.
हमारा फॉर्म बहुत बड़ा है and in one day I normally do 12 to 13,000 steps, which is equal to 9 to 10 kilometers.
Oh, great. No, I know sir, you are very active. But the workers, they should not fall asleep. सागर जी, आपको भी करनी है ये एक्सरसाइज. Not you, but your team. चला?
बस स्क्रीन आ रही है.
हमारी ये स्लाइड थोड़ा टाइम ले रही है, बट नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. I would like to share the experience and the journey for organizing India Mushroom Summit. It was actually my wish after 2014 when DMR Dr. Manjeet Singh organized this conference at NAS complex. I was there, I attended the whole seminar, the whole conference, and I was very much impressed, and I always thought that this should happen every year. But unfortunately, no one took the initiative of organizing that. After 2014, this is the next event we are doing on mushrooms. And mushroom as such, Manmohan sir is here. He has a very big farm. Monica ma'am is here. Dr. Prasad is here. So many people are there, and they know the industry is very big, provided it is organized and it goes in a systematic manner. The systems, the processes, the keys with which we can improve our productivity are still lacking. हम लोग एक जैसे लाला जी की दुकान होती है, ऐसे एक मशरूम फार्म शुरू करते हैं, which is not the right way, and I understood this after visiting Dutch mushroom days. अभी एक मेरे पास सर थे यहाँ पर, मुझे लंच में मिले थे. He has a farm on Delhi हरियाणा border, कुंडली में. सर आप हो इधर? नहीं है. He told me that for मैंने एक एक कील अपने सामने खड़े होकर लगवाई है अपने फार्म में. He was proud to tell me that, but this is not a matter to be proud of. If we go to organized companies, they will set up everything for you and you can easily run that project. हमारे साथ क्या होता है, हम एक जगह कील ठुकवाते हैं, फिर ओहो ये तो गलत हो गई, so हम उसे निकाल देते हैं, then we एक जगह और करते हैं, फिर कुछ करते हैं, so that takes a lot of time, energy and money. हमने एक सेशन मॉर्निंग में किया था फॉर कंसल्टेंट्स. कंसल्टेंट्स एक्चुअली आर द बैकबोन ऑफ आवर सिस्टम. यस, आई वुड से कि हमारे कंसल्टेंट्स भी बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं हैं टेक्निकली, बट यस, माय सजेशन इज वी मस्ट फॉलो अ कंसल्टेंट. हम अपने आप कभी भी मशरूम फार्म लगाने की कोशिश ना करें. Maybe you can hire companies like Agro Projects, or maybe you can hire an Indian consultant. But a consultant, a guru is a must for a mushroom farm. Never go for a mushroom farm without a consultant. It is very difficult, very difficult. I even know a farm for last almost 20 years. They were struggling 20 years back. They are in Odisha and still they are struggling to make it a success. Because the owner was a highly educated person and he followed Google to set up his farm. He did not have a consultant, sir. And this is not the right way. Actually, this is not the right way. We pay a lot of money to lawyers, to doctors, but we don't pay money to consultants of mushroom farms, which is not the correct way of doing it. Okay, sir? You should agree to my point. And ultimately क्या होता है, वो फार्म्स बंद हो जाते हैं, चल नहीं पाते हैं, and the industry gets defamed. मशरूम उगाना ठीक काम नहीं, मत जाओ. जिनों के फार्म बंद हुए होंगे ना, वो सब यही कहते हैं इंडस्ट्री इज नॉट गुड, यू शुड वाइंड अप. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anurag Saxena and I am representing मिल्की वे. अब धंधे की बात करते हैं. सो मिल्की वे was started in my college days long back, and it was conceived in a classroom, not the classroom, in the union room of our college way back in 1989. And from there we thought that we should get into the field of mushrooms. And in 1990 I took a small training from IRI Pusa to start this business. We all know what is spawn. Spawn के बारे में किसे नहीं पता? कोई है ऐसा? So we have educated audience. सबको पता है स्पॉन क्या होता है? अभी मैं खड़ा करके किसी को पूछ लूंगा, फिर उसे सजा भी मिलेगी. So good, everyone knows about spawn. Is it? Yes. So my journey was started with this autoclave. We used to make 5 kg or 6 kg of spawn in a day, or in 2-3 cycle 10-12 kgs. Now these are the autoclaves we are using, and these are some of the very big vessels available in India. Mushroom, I'm trying to be very, very brief. Mushroom spawn has a lot of varieties. Many people, many companies have a lot of varieties. All the varieties are good provided it suits your conditions and your environment. As Sir said, Manmohan Sir said, most of the foreign companies have developed their strains which are suitable to their climate, because India still is way behind most of the European countries, and we are lacking in R&D also, especially in breeding. We have not done so many developments in spawn. For the first time in India, Milky Way has introduced a variety called cheetah. This is our contribution to the spawn industry. We call it cheetah because it is a very fast spawn. It completes your spawn run cycle very quickly, and it is reliable because Milky Way is making it. And it gives good, strong mushrooms. I am sure some of the people must have tried it, but this is one of the contributions to the spawn industry from Milky Way. That is all I wanted to say about India Mushroom Summit. I have already discussed that why we are here and why this initiative was started, and I will make sure that this keeps on going. I am thankful to all these people who supported us in managing and organizing this event, especially to Setrise and Agro Projects. Sir, thank you very much. Now the next event which is coming up is India Mushroom Days. This is on 4th, 5th and 6th of October 2024. I would request that all of you be part of that. I would openly announce and affirm, Sagar sir ने मुझे आज sponsorship बोली है. I will support you. Sir, मैंने अब सबको बोल दिया, देना पड़ेगा. Anyway, thank you very much. My message to the mushroom industry is, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. So, जितनी भी समस्याएं आएं, आपको रुकना नहीं है. You have to keep walking. Okay? Keep walking. I wanted to say keep working. Thank you very much. That is all from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Anurag Saxena, for his valuable sharing of the insights of the agriculture industry, especially the mushrooms, how the graphs can be taken on an upward trend, and how dedicatedly and passionately his working has resulted into the present day scenario of the Milky Way technologies. He has been very instrumental, not only providing this spawn to the farmers, but the way he has conceived the logistic support, the packaging, and the post-farm delivery, this farm management technologies, by way of helping the growers to have a very sustainable, equitable yield. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, in the next category, as we talk about the mushroom farming, there are two types of things which have to be taken into consideration. First is the innovation. We have to keep up pace with the innovative things, cost effectiveness and sustainability. So in this category, mushroom farms, one of the prime things what we talk about in mushrooms is that our environmental control is our yield control. So that's a belief in foreign countries where they are harvesting 35 to 40% of the biological efficiency, and in India we are still at 20% biological efficiency, and there's a lot of scope to understand and to execute the things in a way to enhance our production and productivity. And for mushroom industry, spawn, raw materials, and then even environmental control or the connecting infrastructure and plant and machinery is very important. At a given time, we can see that we have different options for spawn. We can opt for one laboratory or another laboratory. We can keep on changing as per the feasibility and the results. Then raw material also we can keep on changing, and we can see that this raw material does not suit us. We can have the locally available raw materials or some imported ones. But in case of infrastructure and the plant and machinery, once developed and installed, it is the backbone of the mushroom farm and very difficult to change it within a short span of time when our plant is recovering on its economical health. So in this category, I will invite Mr. Daniel Dijeski from the Agro Projects Poland, who will be talking about the important projects and the modern reliable equipments in place in the mushroom industry. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. My name is Daniel Dajewski. I'm the CEO of Agro Projects and also the co-founder of this business. During this presentation, I would like to show you a little bit about our company. This will be auto-promotion. It's clear that I will show our solution. However, let's start maybe first with some words about Poland, because you heard some information already before, even yesterday, about data, about the volumes we produce. Let's maybe make this, show these figures once again. Poland, as a country of 38 million population, is producing 350,000 tons white button mushroom a year. It's quite a lot. 70% of that is coming for export. Therefore, Polish mushroom must be really of the very high quality, must compete with the mushrooms harvested in different countries like Germany, France, UK, or many others. There's mostly the fresh market. Of course, there is the big part going for canning or other processing, but most of the mushrooms are really fresh. They are delivered far, far away. The most further point I could see, it was even the Kazakhstan fresh markets, 6,000 kilometers. They were delivered. Therefore, the Polish market is very competitive. There is plenty of producers. Mostly the bigger the bigger producers are getting bigger. The smaller are getting slowly out of the market. The price level of the mushroom farm, which the farmer can get for the mushroom, is very close to euro. It's about $2 per kilogram. But at the end of the day, everybody is only thinking about scale, volumes, technology, quality, and fully automation. I fully understand the discussion and I also speak about that with people visiting our booth just down below, that India has different raw materials. We cannot have copy-paste of the solution. You have different labor costs. Therefore, not everything can be simply taken. That doesn't make sense even. I want to show you our equipment, but I fully understand that during the discussion, many things can be done locally, maybe different way. But at the end of the day, the financial efficiency is the most important issue of the projects. And if we in Poland can be efficient, develop the market, having $2 per kilo, and you have also the same, it means there is a big space for automation and for doing the things better. It's only the first impression. I'm not the expert. I'm here the 5th day. That's too short to say. If you do not agree, please do not agree. I will think it over. But anyhow, let's go through this presentation. We are going to show you some of our projects, just only to inspire you. How does it look like now currently in Europe, but not only in Europe. And I just only wanted to introduce from which market we are going. 350 tons, 50,000 tons, 13 million population, consumption like 2 kilo per capita. Rest is really given for the export. Market is tough, prices are low. Break-even point, what the farmers are telling me, is 28 kilos per square meter. Below, they are in the red figures. You know, it is something like 30% of the compost, you know, weight. Therefore, you must understand that it's really tough. Okay, let's start about the company itself. I will go through the company, about the projects, shortly about the equipment, and at the end the machines for the mushroom farms. I will go very quickly because I think it's just only impression. Of course, we don't have time to discuss it. I think it's not even the needed thing in this agenda. Actually, the Agro is the group of more or less two companies. We have some small companies as well, but anyhow, that's the Agro project and company Magic. Why I'm pointing this out? Because Magic, starting from the other, right side, is the company with 26 years of the experience with the ventilation, air handling, and also from the very beginning in the mushroom industry. But we do also other projects, cold storages, meat factories, everything. Agro project is in Poland the general contractor. We build different kind of projects, not only mushroom farms, again, logistics sensors, cold storages. But mushroom is really our focus. Mushroom is our part of the life. Mushroom is something what we want to develop in the world, and this how we really want, where we see our future. We have 9 years of experience. I am in the industry only 11 years, but as I said, we accumulate in the group something like 26 of the experience. In the group of these two companies is almost 250 employees, mostly engineers, different kind of people working on the production, people assembling some things on customer side. But anyhow, I think more than half of that is really dedicated for mushroom industry. Only day by day. That's how we look like from the drone picture. You see that a couple of buildings, they were not built on one shot. We also developed step by step, as the mushroom farm should develop too. That's our own new building where we produce the mushroom equipment. The whole you can see on the picture. You know, as you know, the mushroom is really the mushroom farm is a lot of corrosion inside. We mostly work with metal, therefore we do not work. We mostly concentrate with aluminium or any kind of materials which are really corrosion resistant. Therefore, the machinery you could see here is mostly with the metal oriented for the metal processing. You see also some pictures directly from the production where we produce our things. And let's go now currently to the projects. I think what is more important to that. If somebody wants to visit us, please feel free. We will send the invitation. Go to Europe, see. We can see our production. We can see also the Polish farms. What I told already before, we are making meat processing plants, warehouses, industrial buildings. But the core, what we do is the mushroom farm, compost yard. Depends on the year, but sometimes it's 45, but sometimes even 70% of the turnover in the group is really linked with mushrooms. We support the customer from the very beginning. Of course, we help with layout, we help with the technology, we help with a lot of data for the business plan, because there are newcomers coming to the business, they do not know really how to create proper business plan. Of course, we produce almost everything for the mushroom farm, and the very, very big part for the compost yard in-house. Therefore, every customization can be done in our workshop. Therefore, it's much easier to change. Very often we make such changes. We adjust our products just simply to local needs. We make them simpler or more complicated. We make it wider, smaller. That's everything what we can do. We also make a lot of supervising during this process of the building. We do not force our customers to buy the full project like Turkey. We understand that in here everything can be cheaper. That's steel frame, sandwich panels, especially after this containers transportation. Therefore, we really want to focus and help you with this, what is the core for the mushroom farm. It means for the climate, proper conditions when the mushrooms can grow, and the proper technology for that. We, as I said before, we produce all the shelving, picking trolleys, gates, doors, watering system, air handling units, everything in-house, and that's very important. We are not afraid to send our people very far for assembling, not only supervising, because some parts is very important, but also the quality of the assembling is very, 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 very important. And we have also the grower inside of our team who can go and also help with startup of the farm, train the staff. Very often even experienced growers, which they open the very big farm, very big facility. They need to have a support, external support, just to train the staff, because the hundreds of new pickers are coming and only part of them stay in the farm. Okay, projects. I will go smoothly. Let's only look and concentrate on the pictures. There are some last projects from France. You can see on the left side and on the right side some projects of the mushroom farm. Let's speak about the right one. There is the 22 growing rooms, about 600 square meters each. There is in front, you can see also 4 rooms for oyster, which is very seldom to produce in one room the different kind of mushrooms. But this what we built for this customer. Again, there is another farm for the same customer in the south of France, Chasse-Pouzac, close to Lyon. This is the largest project we had ever delivered. I don't want to say we built, because the construction sandwich panels were done locally. But this is, as you see, almost 100,000 square meters of growing surface under 2 roofs, I can say, because there are 2 buildings connected. But this is the project which were developed for 4 years. Nobody builds such big projects during one stage. Behind on the pictures, you can see also the compost yard. Another, simplicity projects which were done, for example, in Belarus. 2 mushroom farms also built. The second farm was built after 2 years after the first one. The right project is also very interesting. There are the 40 growing rooms, and we started from the middle, only 12 rooms, and all the cold storages, changing rooms were there for the people, machinery room, boiler room, but then customer could simply expand every year, 6, 12 rooms, depends what was his budget for this year. But of course the technology, the pipe system, the machinery room and boiler room was prepared for the growth, the diameters, everything was properly done. Therefore it's always good to know, if you want to grow, what is the maximum size, that we know it before, because then the extension is much, much easier and much, much quicker. You do not make the mistakes. If you only build separate buildings, then can be a problem sooner or later in the future, even in case chiller is broken or something's going wrong. Another producer in Belarus, we built for the guy almost everything. There's the bigger producer in Belarus. You see a couple of farms on the picture. And for the same customer we built, and it started 2 years ago, the big compost yard is 1,600 tons of phase 3 weekly compost. Everything built on one shot. This, what you can see on this picture, is built at once. There are no stages. You see here from this picture, straw, different what you have. Under the roof there is the mixing line, also will be different for your raw material. There are the bunkers for the phase 1, under the roof and top filling system. Behind the very, very big building, the building is more than 200 meters long behind. There are 34 tunnels, 43 meters long, output of approximately 200 tons each. That's the volumes which you can get. Therefore, you get this 1,600 tons of phase 3 weekly. I don't go into the details. I maybe only show some pictures from, you see from inside, like straw, phase 1. and also, the corridor phase 2, phase 3. This everything what is delivered by us. With this project we did with Hoving Holland with the machines for the compost, but the rest was delivered by us. Also, Funcom equipment is there. Sometimes we build also some logistic things for mushroom farm. You see the very huge mushroom farm behind. There is almost 36,000 square meters growing surface in one building. And then we build the logistics center next to that. We also make this, let's call it tunnels. That's a very simple solution with some mineral ore as an insulator. This is, for example, Australia. We also do some logistic factories for mushroom processing. This is the mushroom and other fruits and vegetables can be frozen, sliced, whatever. And the building first one is the very big freeze room with the very huge 16-meter high chambers, keeping the ready products already produced. Sometimes we make also adaptation. Not every big hall can be adapted to the mushroom farm, but this one is currently on. At the end of this month will be the first filling, of this mushroom farm is in France, in the eastern part of France. What I told you before, we built also other projects, but let's go smoothly. There is also poultry processing plant, some production and logistics. There's also some mushroom logistics center. We also build some chicken farms or turkey farms. Polnek, this is the milk factory, apple factories. We collect experience from different sources. Let's go shortly through the equipment. I know that you have different needs. You do not maybe will need a lot of such shelvings and trolley, but let's look what we produce. This is, for example, machinery room, and the bigger one which we did in the containers. This is 3.5 megawatt of cooling power delivered in 4 containers to Russia 4 years ago. And why in the containers? Because it's quicker, it's pre-assembled in Poland. Assembling time on the site is very simply. We need simply concrete sleeve and connection, power and the pipes. Currently, I have to say that in Europe there was a really big energy crisis, and currently a lot of focus on the customers is linked on the energy savings, on energy independence. I don't know how big ratio this is in India, but what I heard about the prices of the energy definitely is lower than in our case. But we have even the farms who are working on heat pumps completely without boilers, which in our climate is unique. Maybe in your climate not, but in our climate, what we have minus 20 degrees in the winter, that's can be unique. Therefore, we use any kind of energy, solar panels, whatever, just to make the projects more economical, efficient. What I heard from the Polish grower, depends how old you have the system, that in some cases all the energy costs, it means water, gas, and electricity, can be sometimes 10%, but if the farm is done properly with the new technology, can go down even to 4%. It means on the annual figures, it's really a huge figure. You see here the air handling units. They are different one, depends with the preheating, pre-cooling and all the system. We always take into consideration the exact location, the exact climate. We know that you have completely different weather. We know that there's a lot of humidity in the air, but the equipment will be ready for that. Cold storages and shocker. In Poland, everybody is paying a lot of attention to that the mushrooms picked are really quickly cooled down to 2 degrees and kept to the shocker and then to the cold store, because then we can extend the lifetime, and then it's the very quick delivery to the customer. The lifetime of your products. If they are fresh, they must be quickly delivered and simply be on our tables. We produce different kind of shelving, starting from aluminum, magnelis, or all type like hot dip galvanized, but always the base race is with aluminum. We produce plenty of different variety of floris. starting from the very simply that you put it on the racks to also with the manual winch. Currently, 80% of the lorries is already equipped with the electrical engine. I know you don't need it, but anyhow, everybody's struggle, everybody's fighting for the people to keep them working on the farm. If once they trained, you know how many people you change, how much time you spend to train the staff. Therefore, everybody's focused to attract the working place to make the job easier and the people stay and simply work. Therefore, electricity or automation is going everywhere. Of course, we produce even such trolleys in some countries. You know, there are the expectation about the safety at low regulation that is going on the floor. Very expensive solution, in my opinion. We propose always the underbed watering system. You can have also, of course, the simple, we call it trees, and go around. But this is fully automated. You know, you can even from your mobile phone, you can steer, switch on, switch off. You have the sprinklers out under bed. Your grower can check it every time what's going on. Of course, we are the dealer of Funcom. We work very closely together. The climate is very important. I could see the farm which are really steered manually. Nobody can do it for 24/7. Nobody can also control the composts without sensors or something like that. Therefore, this is also the quality of the building, climate control, proper conditions for the mycelium grow and then for the mushroom grow. It's really the key of success. Of course, we produce our lamps because they have to be resistant for the cookout. We produce our gates, external, internal doors. You know, the tunnels I showed you before, and plenty of small equipment which is needed at mushroom farm, and everything, of course, made out of stainless steel or aluminium, corrosion resistant. For also make some spigots by our own production, airliners, air ducts. Everything is produced in our workshop. And last but not least, of course, it's not the solution maybe for you at the moment because plenty of the farms is only in the bags, but such solution nobody is using currently in Europe. We fill mostly, as I said before, phase 3 on the racks using machines. Compost is coming in the bulk, casing soil is coming as in the bulk or in the big bags, and simply with the phase 3 you fill it once and you forget. You do not have ruffling, you don't need anything. You know, that's everybody understands. You know, where the presentation, what is the difference between phase 2, phase 3. That's clear that there is how the world is going. In Poland, we even have phase 4. It means that, you know, in the cases, you know, that on the compost yards, the mushrooms are incubated. They are delivered only to a small mushroom farm. This mushroom farm does not require such equipment, only forklift. And after 2 days, the people get the first mushrooms. You know, there is also the 2 producers in Poland which are making also such kind of service. But let's come back to the machines. You can see the Hercules is the machines who can fill together the phase 3 compost and casing soil. Of course, can also fill phase 2, but then later, after 2 weeks, you have to put the casing soil on it. With such machine, you can really, when the team has experience 1,000 square meters growing room, it's quite big room, you can fill during 3 or 4 hours. And then you close it and go again. You know, therefore, such machine doesn't make sense for the small farm. But if you have 20, 30, 40 rooms, that's make a difference. And this is how the filling machine is currently the standard all over the Europe, even all over the world. A little bit cheaper solution, a little bit automation and sensor, but also very reliable machines for a little bit lower speed. And of course, you need the full bench of the other equipment because the head filler cannot work alone. It needs some hoppers for compost, you need some hoppers for casing soil, some conveyors, some pulling winches, that everything is working automatically. You probably could see plenty of such videos, plenty of such farms, but this is everything what we do. It's very important for those machines that everything I can say each part of that machine which has contact with compost is made out of stainless steel. Therefore, there is no corrosion at all. Very simply to clean, and you simply go. And the labor costs are really much higher in Europe. Therefore, everybody is paying a lot of attention to that. How quickly they can go to clean the room, if people are forced to make over hours or not, if they can do another job. This is everything what is focused. Therefore, I agree that you maybe do not pay attention, because if the salaries are 8 times lower, 10 times lower, that's maybe it's not the time. But always, people are an issue on the mushroom farm. They come to the work or they do not come, they pick properly, they deliver you the quality or not. They have very big impact on your wallet at the end about the quality of the mushroom, quantity of the mushroom picked. Therefore, it's very important to make them in good conditions, but first of all, to make the the best you can do conditions for compost and for the mushrooms growing. Therefore, I just wanted to present this equipment. We have our booth down below. If you want, you are invited just to discuss with us some things more deeply. You can find us in the internet, and together with Andrzej, we are here just to help you and answer all your questions. There are some already inquiries coming from India for big projects. People are aware about the investments. Everybody is aware that must spend millions. But of course, we always find a way how to share the things, what can we do locally. You have a lot of experts. The engineers we met, for example, last week in Pune were really highly qualified. The questions they were asking were really very precise. Therefore, I strongly believe that a lot of things you can do locally. There is also things you don't need to develop something from scratch. There is plenty of solution already developed in the world, but I agree you must adopt it to your local needs, to your local economical situation, and to your local raw materials. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for your insight about the modern technologies of the project management and the equipments. You can please.
Okay. There are no questions?
Yeah, the questions will be at the end of the session. So, summing up our last speaker, as we all know that throughout the 2 days of our intensive discussions and sessions, all of us have this kind of feeling that commercial mushroom growing is a complex thing to understand, because it is a coordination of so many things to amalgamate and then put them into the right proportions to get the desired results. And as I said that I am repeating that your environmental control is the yield control of the mushrooms. And broadly speaking, the common man takes it that environment means the temperature. Okay, putting one AC into the room to have the required temperatures will suffice. But that is not the situation. Along with the temperature, we have another 2 parameters which are to be taken into consideration in accordance with the temperature management at different levels of the mushroom growing. Now, along with the temperature, we have the relative humidity or the moisture content inside the growing rooms at different levels. And then we have the CO2 concentration or the fresh air movement in the growing rooms. This air conditioning is of a unique what we call HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, where we have to take the fresh air at certain levels of the growth to compensate that fresh air, what are the ambient temperatures and how your AC is functioning. Your temperature fluctuations can directly or indirectly have what impacts on your relative humidity and CO2 concentration at different levels, and ultimately they are the working factors which are in favor of your successful mushroom cultivation. So in this context, Mr. Anand Rawat from Hancom will be talking about the computerized controls of a mushroom growing system, PLC based systems, which have a coordination of signaling each and every parameter in accordance to have a very conditioned air as per the desired results. Mr. Anand Rawat, please sir.
Thank you for the kind Thank you for the kind introduction. As mentioned, my name is Bart Aerts. Does the mic not work, eh?
It's not working.
Hello? Hello?
Just please come. Mic is not working.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the nice introduction. My name is Bart Aerts. I'm responsible within Fancom for sales and also partially, partly for product management. And at first I want to say thank you to Anand Rawat for his initiative for the first Indian Mushroom Summit. Thank you for Anand Rawat and all the volunteers and everyone who contribute to this very nice conference. So India is moving to mushrooms. I want to take you with you moving from compost to mushrooms. So Fancom is a company settled in the Netherlands, and we are active in 3 sectors. Of course, mushrooms, but besides as well in the poultry and pig sector. Our ambition together with you is to feed the growing population in the world. The beginning of this year, India passed the population of China and has the highest population in the world. So that needs a kind of intensification and professionalization of the production. And of course, we want to do that on a food safety way, sustainable, efficiency, and it may not affect the environment. So also the pollution, what is going on over here, we want to reduce energy consumption and do it as sustainable as possible. Fancom is settled in the Netherlands, as I mentioned. We are established in 1977, so we have more than 45 years of experience. And since 1997, we belong to an American-based company. It's called CTB. And I want to mention that because it is very important to know we are a very healthy company financially, but we have also a strong model. And that means when you invest in Fancom, it is also a kind of guarantee that you can do that also in the past, in the future, when you want to expand your farm or when you need spare parts. So, what keeps a mushroom grower busy? So, his challenge is to have the best possible compost and to have a good quality of mushrooms, of course. Preferably also a very high yield, save energy, especially nowadays when the prices of energy are going up, a high efficiency, although the labor costs are still very low over here, when in the future, like in other countries, also here, the loans will increase. And that means that you need to organize your production very efficiently. And you like to control your process 24/7. So what did we do, therefore, to help you? That is that we have climate controllers for each phase of the production, from phase 1 till harvesting. And it needs to be efficient and as easy as possible for you. So a total solution from phase 1 till harvesting. We have a lot of experience, 45 years of experience. So that means that all the experience which we gathered in the past, we have included that in our systems. Of course, it is also important that the controller is easy to understand. It needs to be a tool which you are free to use. So that is important, and it is also important that it is flexible to your local conditions. So that sounds logical, but that is a must. And we do not save on quality. You are busy with a living product that goes on 24/7, so the controller needs to operate the whole year long. It is a technical product, so I can't guarantee you 100% guarantee, but I think we reached 99.9. So what did we do to make it more easy for you? So we use less text in our controllers, we use colors, we use symbols, and we use numbers. And in this example, you can see where this fan comes green, everything is okay. In case it is orange, the measurement is too high, and when it is blue, the measurement is too low. We have several controllers for phase 1, one controller for phase 2 and 3, one for the growing phase, for watering, and we combine that with data management. Phase 1 can take place in open, half-open or closed bunkers. Over here it is allowed to have it in an open bunker, so that makes it much more easy and less expensive. But nevertheless, you need, if you like to control the fermentation phase, of course, as good as possible. So the controller for phase 1 is called the 751. It has 3 adjustable fermentation phases. You can adjust the fan for the level or modular ventilation to reach the optimal compost quality. Over here some pictures. At the left hand, half open bunker, and the right hand a complete open bunker. And these are pictures in Belgium at a fully closed bunker. And over here, the several fermentation phases with the compost temperature as well combined with the oxygen content. After finishing phase 1, we move to the tunnels for phase 2 and maybe also for phase 3. That's a little bit up to you. The kind of working, if you are doing the spawner and the growing rooms, that is also possible, of course. But the computer is suitable to do phase 2 and phase 3 in the tunnel to reach an optimum substrate quality. We do that very slowly. We start with leveling, that the temperature is equal in the whole batch, and then we heat up for pasteurization. We have settings for 11 production phases, from filling, from the fresh compost to cookout. And by doing so, you are able to accelerate your composting process. And that is a very interesting one, because when you can speed up, you are also increasing the efficiency of your tunnel. So here a picture of a very large facility. On each tunnel has another air handling unit, so you see this is a very large facility. Over here some additional pictures with also air handling unit, and also for a picture where a tunnel is filled. And over here an overview of all the phases in the tunnel, with the compost temperature, inlet temperature, CO2, fresh air, the fan, and time. So you can actually very good see what is going on. After finishing phase 2 or phase 3, that's a little bit depending on your management, what I already mentioned. The compost goes to the growing room, and you can control with our controller always 2 rooms, a maximum 2 rooms. That counts also for the tunnel and for the bunker computer as well, 1 or maximum 2. The computer has a kind of intelligence in it based on the Mollier diagram, and it is able to steer the climate in a very efficient way. So in that direction, that energy costs are as low as possible. So when it is not needed to cool down, then and the outside air is suitable, then the system will choose for outside air. But the opposite is, of course, also possible. The controller for the growing rooms is called the 765, of course it's able to control the climate in all type of air conditioning systems, also in all regions. So what Mr. Daniel already mentioned, it is depending on the local conditions that the equipment of the air handling unit is calculated to the local conditions. So that is very, very important. We make use of 10 growing phrases, so you are able to control it very, very accurately. For example, a CO2 shot is available, and of course we do it in a very efficient way. Yeah, I can tell a lot about it, but with regard to the time, I will not a little bit speed up. Over here some pictures at the left hand where the air handling unit is mounted in the central corridor. Nowadays where growing rooms are becoming bigger, the air handling unit is very often mounted on the top in the middle of the growing room, and that is a picture which you see on the right hand. Oh yeah, hereby a picture of a growing room. At the right hand, the shelving system where mushrooms are automatically harvested. In the Netherlands, the labor costs are very high, and that forced growers to stop with manual picking and start with automatically harvesting. So it's a kind of a chopper which moves over the beds and cuts the mushrooms in one time. As mentioned, also for the growing phase, we have a lot of phases to control the climate. For each phase, compost temperature, air temperature, RH, CO2, the fresh air, the fan, and time. Maybe I forgot one thing. Maybe it's, oh, excuse me, I go in the wrong, oh, no, I made a mistake. Excuse me for that. I will go very quickly. I like to explain you something about the growing room. So, over here you see the air handling unit, and fresh air comes from the top and return air comes from the growing room. And over here there are contra-rotating valves. The sum of the inlet air is always 100%. So when the fresh air is 60, by the contra-rotating valves, the return air is automatically 40%. So when the air needs to cool down over here, maybe to reduce the moisture content, then you have first the chiller, and after the chiller the heating coil, and afterwards it is possible to humidify the inlet air. That can be with cold water in case you want to warm up the air in the growing room. Then it is possible to do it with steam. The air goes by via the ducts on the left and on the right way. It's blown in the growing rooms, and in the middle, normally in the middle, there is an exhaust for return air or to outside. And by mounting the exhaust in the middle, you get a kind of circulation of the air over the beds. Yes, of course, watering is also very important. That can also be computer controlled. Over here, a system with a spraying tree, and the computer is flexible, so you can do a setting for amount of water, and the velocity of the spraying tree is adapted to that amount of water. All these computers can be combined in PC software so that you have a very clear overview of what is going on. Of course, it is also possible to look what you did in the future. The advantage of using a PC software is that you can store all the data which are measured. So every sensor can be measured, and you can store the data. So you get a lot of information. And it is also possible to push that information when you have an own dashboard, to push that information to your own dashboard automatically. So that makes life very easy, and that gives also the possibility to learn, because there was just before there was a question. What do we do with all the measurements? Yeah, you can collect them and save all that information and show it in graphs. So that and graphs is a picture, and that tells much more than only a table. Finally, we have also remote control. So we have an app, and that app is available for iOS and Android mobile devices. So you are in touch with your farm anytime and anywhere where you have internet access. You have the same possibilities when you are in front of the controller, so you do not only see on your mobile device, you can also adjust settings. So that makes it very comfortable, like you are here in this audience, that you do not have to worry to go home. No, you can quickly take a look and have the confirmation that you can afford a glass of beer or something else. So this was it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alak, for your insightful discussions regarding the application of HACCP equipments, the computerization, which is a very important factor of the modern mushroom growing. How beautifully explained about the growing room being maintained by way of fan speeds and the positioning of ducts and the air currents, so that desirable climate of positive situations, both in terms of macroclimate and microclimate. There are two climates inside a growing room. One is the macroclimate, the overall climate, and then one is the microclimate, which is between the one growing bag, which is very important for the pins to develop and for the healthy growth of the mushrooms, and how this system can achieve us the desirable levels of both the climatic conditions and also the ease of working from the Android apps from our home to see the data, assess the data, or even change the minimum and maximum levels of your requirements. And this gives a feedback data also for your assessment and for later sharing also. Thank you very much, sir. Now the session is open for the discussions, question and answer session. Questions are welcome. Okay, please. There's one at the last row.
Thank you very much for the sessions. My name is Mario. My question, I'll begin from the metric that came from Poland, that you have around 40 million people in Poland. Well, if you only account for the farmers in India alone, we are around 70 million or more. Just the farmers, the rest of the people are not counted still. So my point there is that from the technology that you showed us, it is wonderful, it is a reliable technology. When I'm planning for a farm with high investment, a farm which is supposed to yield me continuously for 10 years, it's the right way to go. But the solution that we are looking probably for in our market, likely how Mr. Manmohan Singh said, that we should approach the government or the board. But I want to bring the conversation to the technology part, where instead of having really large scale farming, our farmers, if they need a more PLC, simple based control, like how Mr. Vijay said, if we need a more PLC based simple control that can be done for addressing the local demand than addressing like a more large scale demand. What would be the panel's insight onto how that can be implemented, or how that should be looked at, rather than looking at just big tech? Can we also look at small to medium tech, where I'm not looking at a showroom that does not do more than 500 kgs a week, let's say.
Okay. As I understood that you are just targeting the small farmers in India under their own conditions, and already certain people from IITians have developed certain versions of the software and hardware which is compatible with one growing room or 4 growing rooms, and that is already under the final trials of its application, and soon you will come up with a version like that which will suit your requirements and also give a control over the conditions of environmental control and other things in future also. I am very sure that many people are working on this issue, and soon we will have a system in place. Any more questions? Okay, with a very scintillating session, and I am very pleased. Yes, please. Please, sir.
Give me an opportunity, can I come over and...
Yes, sir. Yes, please. Sure. Yes, please, you may come.
I have a few points to make, which I thought this would be.
I would like to introduce you, sir.
No, you don't have to introduce me. Sit down.
I want to, sir.
Okay, sorry.
Sir is my mycology teacher. He taught me mycology in my college. So he's the man behind pushing me into mushrooms.
Okay, so thank you. So, dear Bart, Daniel, Vijay, Anurag, Manmohan and Stuart, it was great attending your session. It was a brilliant session, one of the best sessions I've heard. And all my esteemed delegates, Dr. Rekha, who's the champion of all this, Dr. Payal, I don't see her here, all the esteemed guest faculties and delegates. I'm overwhelmed by the whole conference, this session in particular. This I attended fully. I heard Bard, he's Bart. You know, there is a term which is very popular, hot topic these days is BARD, B-A-R-D. All of you must have heard of it. There's a Google AI tool. So people are taking help of it. So I want to congratulate Bart for all the systems he's doing. It's almost like an AI tool, which has the answers for many, many things. And I think Indian collaborators should make full use of this technology, what he's thrown on. In such a very, very small scale, they are doing the whole systems of the mushroom. So he has captured this, and India should take full use of it, and I hope to see many collaborations. I won't be here tomorrow, so I was overwhelmed, and I wanted to share a few thoughts. This conference has been great. an amazing conference, one of the best I attended in mushrooms. And they have done a tremendous job to put together such an amazing conference. And the whole credit goes to the team of the Shahid Rajguru College, a great team led by a very competent leader, Dr. Payal, Dr. Rekha and her team. Anurag, of course, is my student. I want to hats off to his efforts and things. I just wanted to tell a few things about Anurag. That was year 1987. I got appointed in Delhi University, and my job was to establish a microbiology department. There was no microbiology in Delhi University at that point in time. So I was one of the teachers. I was not the sole teacher. There were two more colleagues of mine who were given this responsibility to start a microbiology department. And that is how BSc honors in microbiology started in our college. So Anurag was my third year batch student. And I am going down the memory lane, and I'm trying to see what happened during that time. We were trying to build that facility, trying to build lab, trying to teach students how to inoculate. I remember holding hand of Anurag, telling him how to inoculate. And this is the stage where he has reached. He's now a full industrialist. It makes me very happy. I just want to put 3 students whom I caught very young, 87 batch. Deepak Nilani. So this was just a batch of 6 students. And Deepak's sparkle. So I was teaching 3 subjects at that time: biotechnology, virology, and mycology. I take just 3 examples, 3 students. Biotechnology, Deepak Nilani went on to do his PhD with Dr. Sahani at IMTech, and he developed a technology, what we call a streptokinase, which was developed in the US to, dissolve the clots, what we have in coronary heart diseases. So he developed a blockbuster with his guide and went on very successfully, and this technology sold like anything. So that was the commercial part of it. He is now a professor, full-fledged professor at the Purdue University in the US. My second student, whom I want to recall, was Sanjay Fogat. I taught him virology. Of course, I taught to all these students. There was a difference. He stood out among all the students. He went on to rub shoulders with Robert Gallo, I think you must be knowing, who deserved a Nobel Prize, though he didn't get it, for discovering HIV. So much was his interest in virus research, and he used to come to me and you said, "Sir, aapne jo virology padhaya, that has taken me that far." He rubbed shoulders with Rob Gallo, worked with him, and then joined the SmithKline Beecham Group, GSK, Sanofi, and he is at the top. He is the CEO of at Sanofi right now. And so, I've just heard that he has moved to GSK. Coming to mycology, where did I score in that? So my report card is Anurag. I taught him mycology, and he was a gem. These 3 students whom I am mentioning you, this is the whole class is sitting in front of me. And remember, a teacher looks in the eyes of every student. No one is going to be missed out. These 3 students that I just talked about, they had that sparkle in their eyes when I was teaching them. I could see that thing in the eyes, and I knew that these 3 students are going to do big. And I'm very, very happy for Anurag. My full compliments to him. Tumne mujhe puri guru dakshina de di. I'm so happy, and he is a very humble student. He still maintains that Guru Shishya Parampara that we have in our country, which we are so proud of. Thank you, Anurag, so much. And the whole team of the mycology, my wife is also a mycologist, so she did her PhD in the same lab where Dr. Payal was trained, Payal Mago, and the top mycology teachers in the Delhi University were my wife's colleagues. Dr. Surinder, who is the principal of the Khalsa College, same lab. Then Dr. Payal Mago, as I mentioned, and then Rajini Gupta, who's at the Kirodimal College. She has written a textbook on mycology. So that was my second love, you can say, mycology. And still I have a great love for this subject, though my first love is virology. But I have great love for this, and for the love I'm here of the mycology. So again, I want to really congratulate the whole team and Dr. Rekha and her team for putting up this show. And I wish them all the success in future endeavors. I want them to take this torch, be a torch bearer, and spread the knowledge of mycology in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for your exceptionally encouraging words about the session and the conference as well. And we are very highly delighted to know more about Anurag Saxena ji today, from the days he was a student, and he is really made you proud and we all proud at this juncture of life by coming to the level of expectations you had in your opinion at that time. Thank you very much, sir. So any more questions? We can take the questions, or we can close the session on a very good note, that this session of vibrant people on my left and right, and I am very thankful to chair this session and hope for a nice day tomorrow at the concluding session of this India Mushroom Summit. Thank you very much.
I thank all the speakers for sharing their insightful words with us. May I now request Dr. Aarti Yadav to kindly join us to present a token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers. Mr. Vijay. Mr. Manmohan Malik. Mr. Stuart Whitehall. Mr. Anurag Saxena. Mr. Daniel.
Thank you.
Mr. Ertzbart. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that, Day 2 of India Mushroom Summit 2023 comes to an end. It's been extremely enlightening. I would like to thank the entire organizing team, speakers, participants, as well as our sponsors, Milky Way Technologies Limited India, Projects, Agro Projects Poland, and Zhangzhou Setrise Industry China for their contributions to today's event. Before we part our ways for the day, I would like to invite all of you to join us for the tea break. The tea break is set up in the designated area. I encourage you to take this moment to enjoy some tea and reflect on the insights gained during the day. Thank you once again for joining us for an integral day, and we will meet you soon tomorrow at Day 3. This is Akshita Sharma
and Niyati Arora.
Tomorrow's session of Day 3 will start at 9:30 a.m. We are signing off for the day. Thank you very much.